In the year 1969, man landed on the moon for the very first time. We had conquered space and actually set foot on the moon. Mankind had bravely gone where no one had ever gone before. But that was nearly half a century ago, and to this very day, we've still only explored 3% of our own planet's oceans. Imagine that, just 3%. That means that 97% of our planet's depths are still yet to be explored. The 3% that we have explored have shown us things that are beyond belief, and so we've brought you the top 5 underwater discoveries that cannot be explained. Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified every day for more amazing content. With that being said, let's begin. Number 5. Strange object found at the bottom of the Baltic Sea. The mysteries of our world truly are endless, but what we're focusing on here are the ones found underwater that can't be explained. So here's number 5 on the list. The Baltic Sea anomaly refers to interpretations of an indistinct sonar image. The image was taken by Peter Lindberg, Dennis Asberg, and their Swedish Ocean X diving team while treasure hunting on the floor of the northern Baltic Sea in June of 2011. The Ocean X diving team describes themselves as treasure hunters and salvage operators who specialize in underwater searches for sunken antique high-end beverages and historic artifacts. What they captured on their sonar picture and brought back was an image of something on the sea floor. The blurry yet interesting sonar image was taken while searching for an old shipwreck in the summer of 2011. The image is said to show a 60-meter wide circular object. As if that isn't strange enough, they claim that the image shows features resembling ramps, stairways, and other structures that aren't produced by nature. The diving group returned to the same spot the following year with the full intention of capturing a clearer image, but they said that upon arriving at the correct position, they faced mysterious electrical interference. There have, since the discovery, been all manner of theories as to what the object is. Some people believe that it's a gateway to another world or the crashed remains of an alien ship, while others refer to it as an underwater Stonehenge. Some samples of the rock were apparently recovered from the site and analyzed by an associate professor of geology at Stockholm University. The professor reported that the samples indicated that most were granite and sandstone. But amongst the sandstone and granite samples, there was a loose piece of basaltic or volcanic rock which had absolutely no place at the site where it was found. The Ocean X dive team have said that there are plans currently underway to be able to transport wealthy tourists to this site by submarine. So if you have the right type of money, maybe you can go and have a look for yourself. Number 4. Underwater rivers complete with trees, leaves, and waterfalls. Underwater is a world that there is, as we have said, very little known about compared to land. This means that we are constantly finding things underwater that we never knew existed. Things that may have been there for thousands or even millions of years and are only recently being discovered. Number 4 on our list of underwater discoveries that can't be explained comes in the form of an amazing natural occurrence. An underwater river has been discovered that comes complete with its own trees, leaves, and of course, what river would be seen dead without its own waterfall? Researchers that were working on the Black Sea have found currents of water 350 times greater than the River Thames in London that flow along the seabed, carving out channels much like a river does on land. The undersea river, which is up to 115 feet deep in places, even has rapids and waterfalls, just like those on land. In terms of how much water's been found to be flowing through this underwater river system, if it were on land, it would be the 6th biggest river on Earth. But that's not the most mysterious of these underwater phenomena. No, there's an underwater river in Mexico that has some different characteristics altogether. In Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, there's an advanced dive that'll take your breath away. Housed in a cenote or underwater water-filled cave system, there's an actual underwater river like no other. It flows right through the ocean. The strange happening is formed by limestone bedrock, which collapses and forms a pit which acts like a reservoir. The reservoir fills with a mix of fresh groundwater and salt water. Eventually, organic matter ends up in the trench, and when that decomposes, it produces a cloud of hydrogen sulfide that separates the fresh water above from the salt water below. Divers can actually swim right through the cloud, which magically resembles a flowing body of water. With fallen leaves and bare branches lining the river, you can't help but think that you're in a mystical forest. This underwater river in a water-filled cave in Mexico is 33 meters under the water, and yet it resembles a fully flowing body of water and has waterfalls and trees along its banks. This is really one underwater discovery that cannot be explained. Number 3. Pyramids aren't just in Egypt, they're underwater now as well. When we think of pyramids, we might think of those towering objects that stick out of the deserts of Egypt in northern Africa. We would think of sand, yes, but maybe not the sand that lies on the bottom of the ocean. As far as underwater discoveries go, private yacht owner Diocleciano Silva made number 3 on our list when his boat's equipment picked up a mysterious object at a depth of 40 meters. The strange object that was discovered was a perfectly squared structure. It's thought that there's no way that this discovery could be of natural origin. That means that someone or something had to have put it there. The underwater pyramid stands at a height of over 60 meters high and 8,000 square meters at the base. It lies between the islands of Terceira and São Miguel. It's not only a strange thing to have found underwater, but the place that it stands and its orientation are also mysterious. The structure is oriented upon the 4 cardinal directions. The 4 cardinal directions are those that are shown on any compass, so north, east, south, and west. So a mysterious underwater pyramid that faces the 4 cardinal directions at once. Most recently, archaeologists from the Portuguese Association of Archaeological Research, or APIA as they are otherwise known, have identified archaeological evidence on Pico Island that supports their belief that human occupation in the Azores predates the arrival of the Portuguese by many thousands of years. The evidence comprises of a great number of similar proto-historic pyramidal rock structures, some of them 13 meters high. These ancient underwater structures may have been built according to an oriented plan aligned with summer solstices, which suggests they were built with an intended purpose. The vertex of the pyramid was facing north and south, like the Great Pyramids of Giza in Egypt. There are also very many people who would say that the structure could be linked to the mythical underwater city of legend, Atlantis. The mythical city that supposedly disappeared in a day and night when it sunk into the waters of the Azores has been searched for centuries. Perhaps this perfectly oriented pyramidal structure could lead the way. Who knows? But it definitely deserves a place amongst the top 5 underwater discoveries that cannot be explained. Number 2. The finger of death is ice cold. Some of the mysteries that we uncover in the world that we live in today are seriously messed up and way beyond comprehension. There are forces at work in this world that are far too weird and wonderful for us to even know where to begin. While us as humans are going above and beyond to create and bring some of the newest ideas to life, we really do have absolutely nothing on nature. Whether it's Mother Nature or God, whoever it is has got a dark sense of humor, as can be readily seen with our next item on the list. In at number 2 on our list of the top 5 underwater discoveries that cannot be explained is beyond belief. Some of the natural forces on our planet we've already shown you the epic power of. Now, we'll show you how gentle yet deadly it can be with its delivery. Here is one of the most frightening things that nature has to offer. The so-called ice finger of death is an icicle of salty brine water that resembles a finger. The creepy phenomenon is caused by cold, sinking brine, which is more dense than the rest of the seawater. It forms a brinicle as it contacts the warmer water below the surface. In the winter, the air temperature above the sea ice can be below -20 degrees Celsius, whereas the seawater itself is only about -1.9 degrees Celsius. Heat flows from the warmer sea up to the very cold air, forming new ice from the bottom. The salt in this newly formed ice is concentrated and pushed into the brine channels in the ice. And because it's very cold and salty, it's denser than the water beneath. The result is that the brine sinks in a descending plume. but as this extremely cold brine leaves the sea ice, it freezes the relatively fresh seawater it comes in contact with. This forms a fragile tube of ice surrounding the descending plume, which grows into what's called a barnacle. Barnacles are found in both the Arctic and the Antarctic, but it has to be pretty calm for them to grow long enough to become fingers of death. When they do, however, become long enough to become icy fingers of death, they approach the sea floor, where there are, of course, a wide range of animals that crawl about on the cold ocean floor. These creatures may be able to withstand the fairly cold temperature of the seawater, but when they're touched by the icy finger of death, there's absolutely no escaping their fate. They become part of a moving underwater ice flow of brine. Number 1. Loki's castle is not in Asgard after all. Sticking with the frozen depths of our ocean here, we top our list of unexplainable underwater discoveries with another recent find that lies beneath the ice-covered oceans of the Arctic. Life on our planet is hard enough on the surface, let alone underwater. And if you're gonna live underwater, then surely you would flock to the waters of the Caribbean or the Maldives in order to set up home. Well, scientists have found an entire natural world underwater. And the most mysterious part is that all these plants and creatures are living happily and actually thriving in a place that's so hostile that nobody thought to look. And even when they did, we didn't have the technology for it to be possible. The before now unknown world of Loki's castle, as it's being referred to, was discovered by researchers from the University of Bergen in Norway. These discoveries are an incredibly interesting look into a part of Norwegian culture that is underexplored. The evidence gathered by the researchers shows that there's an entire ecosystem living on volcanic seamounts in extreme conditions in the Arctic Sea. Alright, Top 5ers, if you haven't already, make sure to visit our other channel, The Brilliant, for even more interesting list videos that'll blow your mind. Oh, but I'm warning you, the videos over on The Brilliant are extremely addicting to watch as well. There will be a link in the description to the channel, so make sure to come and visit us. Or you can go to our latest video popping up on screen right now. Oh, and articles you will ever get to read? If not, click the icon shown on the screen right now.